Oh, hi, yo, dudes, dudettes, and all my beautiful people of the interwebs. It is Saturday, so it is time to go beyond. Welcome to the United States of Smash with the Smash Podcast. We hope that everyone is having a wonderful day, having a wonderful time, and keeping up with everything that's going on. Because not only is anime doing really great right now, pop culture in general, comic book movies, everything is doing so good from classics to new stuff in the works. And I gotta say, there's a lot of good stuff to be excited about recently, and some major records are being hit by a lot of different things, and it's a good time for nerds. I'll say that for whatever kind of fandom you're a part of, it's a good time. But before we get to these topics, we're gonna touch up with everyone here in the show and check on the panel. And of course, as always, we have our resident kanji king himself, the Japanese speaker, Mr. Kofi. How you doing, my man?
Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you so much, guys, for having me on this panel. I appreciate it coming on here every week, talking about anime, talking about comic book movies, general weeb culture. Things are going well. I'm very excited to get into some of these topics and definitely start watching a lot more anime.
Definitely. Hey, man, you know we're all diverse in our knowledge and our levels of understanding of the Japanese subculture, right? I was like, you may have fallen off with anime, but no one can speak Japanese as good as you or studied it as much as you. So you have as much of a right as anyone else to show your stuff. That's what I'm saying. Always. Always, always, always. And of course, we have the young buck, right? My fellow young brother on the show, who's been stepping up his game, and he's been killing it with the manga game. All right, I'll say that he's definitely the manga man over here. You know what? I think that's gonna be your name.
Lagging heavily.
Yeah. You're the manga man, right? I was like, you the manga man. That's your title from now on. But of course, I gotta give love to my lawyer, right? He makes sure that I don't do anything to get myself in trouble, Mr. Operations. What's good, your op?
Man. Not much, bro. It's fine, but I'm more quick to read manga than watch anime. That's crazy.
Cool, right?
It takes more effort too, but I'll just chill over here. Try and catch up on stuff, but hacking through it.
Got it. And guys, let us know in the chat below. I finally set up multiple, so that we can have music playing in the back for y'all, but it's not blasting in any of our ears or making it hard for me to hear anything going on. So if it's too loud or anything, let me know so that way I can adjust it for y'all. But hopefully y'all can hear that and have a nice little soundtrack to hearing the stupid stuff that we do, right? But yeah, man, Op, you've definitely been all over the manga lately, keeping up with all that. So good on you with that. And of course, guys, I am your boisterous host with the most, Bloody Nuts, aka the Gothic Gamer, and your resident anime king. So I hope everyone's doing wonderful, and we're gonna see what everyone's been up to. Starting with you, Kofi. Have you been watching anything lately, reading anything, or what you got going on? What you been keeping busy with?
There's one anime I've been watching, that's Kakegurui, and that's season 2. I don't know how far behind that is when season 2 first came out on Netflix, but I do really love that show, the animation, the mix-ups with the gambling that happens. And I'm actually pretty far in season 2. I think I'm like episode 8 or so. And when I get through Kakegurui, I want to go back to, like you were mentioning last week that Blood Orphans is now on Netflix, so I'm gonna just pick up from there on Netflix and just hopefully get back to watching a lot more anime.
Yeah, IBO on Netflix is awesome. And dude, Kakegurui, I love Kakegurui because my girl Jabami, talk about a bombshell. Talk about my kind of insane. I was like, that is the love of my life right there. No cap. I was like,
I'm not gonna lie, she's a very likable character.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So Jabami's the girl. I was like, everyone needs to watch it, right? Because that's some insane levels of gambling and some crazy stuff that happens. But the end of season 1 with the boys come up and how she's basically fallen in love with him because of the fact that he's starting to understand that world, right?
Yeah.
I love it. But everyone who's trying to get her attention all the time, especially what's her name with the eye patch who tried to get them to kill herself, like how in love she is with her and stuff like that. She's like, ugh, don't talk to me. She's like, you disgust me. And just that like crestfallen nature of her. She's like, but I do this for you. She's like, gross. I'm just like, bro, that's so disrespectful, but I love it.
And I love the, I'm forgetting the other girl's name, the blonde girl that kind of works with Yumeko. I don't know, like, I like their dynamic, the way that one will kind of be there for the other if they don't have backup, or if they need help, I guess you should say.
Yeah, I would like to say, everyone that she interacts with has a very interesting, just dynamic altogether, but I know exactly who you're talking about. That's, I know who it is. But I can't think of it right now. But no, but all of them, Mary, that's who it is. Mary. Why am I like having so many issues with that? It's simple, it's Mary. Yeah. Yeah, it was Mary. Mary Satomi. I was like, cause Ryota is the boy. Yeah. But hey, what's good, Sick? How's it going, my man? But yeah, no. The characters all there have a very unique dynamic all with each other. But it's more crazy to see like how Ryota will go so far out of his way to do everything for Yumiko, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's also like, he doesn't think so far ahead and he's just trying to do what he has to. But how he's getting smarter throughout the series and understanding like how everyone else is already ahead of these games. Like in season 2, did you see the game where with what's it, the where you had to where you couldn't go over like 8 or anything like that? And with
the girl and her younger sister, right? The opponents.
Yeah, with the poison.
Yeah, and Yumeko was on the couch.
Yeah, and she told him, she's like, look, if you go to her and ask her for help, do whatever she says, don't question it, right?
Yeah. And how Satome was, she was reflecting on it, right? How she was like, she knew that I would play like this style.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, it's a great episode.
Yeah, because he was at first like, he's like, no, I should do this, and he's just like, no, just do whatever she says. That's what she would want me to do. He's like, all right, I'll go all in on whatever she says. So like, it was crazy to think about his own come up, but compared to everyone else, it's a smart written anime, and I love that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what you can't deny. Hey, what's going on, Jay Slayer? What's up, man? How's it y'all doing over there? You too, Sick, I see you over there. A.K.A. Child of God. My boys. Everyone showing up, showing love. Now, for you, Op, what have you been reading lately? What have you been keeping up with, right?
For me, Seven Deadly Sins, that chapter, that was hype shit right there. Like, no lie. But, like, unfortunately, it's coming to an end pretty soon for what I'm based off the manga, but, like, it's been really dope lately. After that, I haven't read the new... Did I? I can't remember if I read Fire Force or not. I don't know. That manga, like, it has its good moments, but, like, most of it just, yeah. It's so sad. There's so much wasted potential in that manga and anime. It's just crazy, man.
Are you serious?
But, yeah, for me, like, it's not bad, but, like, it could be so much more, you know?
That's what a lot of different series.
Like, it doesn't hit it doesn't hit its full potential, in my opinion. But, after that, there's My Hero. I haven't read the new Vigilantes yet. I have to get on that one.
Ooh,
After that, of course, One Piece. There was no new One Punch Man this week, unfortunately. What comes next? That's all I could. Oh wait, Demon Slayer. I haven't read the latest one yet. I think I missed that one. I might have to go back and read that. As far as manga, that's all I've been keeping up with.
Okay. Interesting. Good stuff. Well, that's good. You watch any new shows lately, or are you still falling behind in all that?
Ooh, next question.
He's like, next. Nope. Nope. He's like, I'm not even going into that one. Not even touching it. All right. Well, guys, you know me. I'm keeping up with everything as always. I just read the most recent chapter of Domestic Girlfriend because I love that. I was like, so shout out to my boy JD over on the Otaku Fix. I was like, we all over that show and all over that manga. That boy can't catch a break. All right, that manga just breaks my heart because he's caught between two sisters and they keep going back and forth on whether they want to be with him or not. It's so heartbreaking. It's ridiculous. I was like, I can't stand this telenovela stuff, right? Straight up, no ifs, ands, or buts. Just the worst romance of all time is all I could say. I was like, he just doesn't get it easy. I'm waiting on the new chapter of Shield Hero because I cannot wait for when season 2 comes back, because when it does, it's gonna be something special. Absolutely gonna be something special. With everything that's going on with that. What else? I'm keeping up with all the new current running shows, right? So everything that's been going on. Assassin's Pride, absolutely getting better. The fights are getting so dope. I was like, I'm loving that. Just watched the new episode of My Hero today, which I want to talk about that here in a bit. I was like, I want to talk about that, right? What else did I watch?
How many episodes in the season 4 is it?
I think it's on episode 7 in the new season. So, I think it's right there. Either it's no, maybe not. I think it's like probably about. I'd have to double check. But they got that going on. Just watched the new Ascendance of a Bookworm. That one's a real interesting isekai, and that one I've been really enjoying. Still enjoying Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. I was like, that one's just a great comedy. I was like, that one's hilarious. And I've been loving that. Just finished up rewatching From Commonplace to World's Strongest, or Arifueta, or Arifutera, I believe it was how it's pronounced.
Huerta.
Yeah, Arifuerta, or Arifutera. I can't remember which one, how it was spelled, but I believe it was Arifutera or Arifuerta. But it's From Commonplace to World's Strongest. That one is really dope, and I like that one. The action in that one was really, really cool and stuff like that. Even though as time went on, it basically evolved into a harem anime like everything else. But at least this one makes sense, right? I was like, the thing I have about, like, when it comes to tropes, right, as anime fans and manga fans, there's all the standard tropes that we all expect, right? The thing about the harem trope that I hate the most is when a character that doesn't deserve a harem, for no other reason, it just happens. It bothers me, right? It's why while I read Love Hina, the entire manga series when I was growing up, when I go back and look at that, I was like, but why? Why? What about this dude made everyone fall in love with him? All he did was take over his aunt's apartment complex. That's all that happened, right? He was the new owner, or after his grandma passed away, she left it to him, and his aunt was running it, and he was helping her. That was it. And yet, everyone that lived there fell in love with him. It's like, but why? Like, the main romance at the end of it, the one who he marries, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. But everyone else, I'm just like, but no. But this one is one of those ones where it's like, you actually see why the character, like, everyone, like, is like, yo, this guy is awesome. I should do whatever he says, or whatever. Like, it proves itself throughout the year, right? Throughout the series. I'll say that. But, other than that, just keeping up with all the other big names like Vinland Saga, which we're going to talk about over there. Because Vinland Saga is legit, because who doesn't like Vikings, right? Who doesn't love Vikings? And then, of course, Food Wars. Food Wars is amazing. It's still the best, alright? I was like, and it's heating up, pun intended, with season 4 right now. I was like, it's absolutely getting crazy. Because the showdowns now with the rebels going off against the school, from the administration, right, of those who took over the freedom of cooking, right? It's crazy. It's crazy how it's getting, and I'm looking forward to it so wholeheartedly. I can't wait for what happens next. But, guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into these topics. And I think the first one that we should talk about is definitely one for us, right, as fans of wanting good movies, good animes, and stuff like that. But also as gamers, right? And I think there's one very specific character as gamers that we all absolutely love, right? And that's this little blue ball of fuzzy animal fur right here above me. Sonic, right? Sonic the Hedgehog has a very storied history of being a beloved character. Also a character who's had some not so great games, but still well loved, well cared about, and has a very storied history for gamers and stuff like that, right? Well, when they announced that they were doing a Sonic movie, a lot of people were just like, well, okay, we're gonna wait and see how this plays out, right? We're gonna see what happens. And then the trailer drops. And then that design was revealed. And my God, if the backlash and fire that swept from it wasn't well deserved, because I don't know what the hell they were thinking, making Sonic into a mini human, just a fuzzy mini human. worst, worst, worst 4 porn ever, right? I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they did, but they got lit up so badly by fans, right? They said you need to change that because that is god awful and it is an abomination. So the director and the producer of the project said, you know what? We'll move the movie back and go back to redesigning. So a lot of people are just like, okay, this is a chance for them to either do it really well or even worse. Well, earlier this week, they revealed the new redesign for Sonic. And my God, is it much better. It is what you would expect him to look if he was actually 3D, right? Had the textures, right? It looks more believable. It looks more like what we'd expect out of the character of Sonic. I think the one complaint that came from the creator himself is just that the eyes were separate and not together, like joined like right at the nose like we see in the regular designs. But that's a small complaint compared to what it was before. And he still loves it, and he said that he's interested to see the movie. And I think a lot of people from that new trailer are much more hype about this film. Because one, the humor is definitely there from the character that we know, based on the old TV shows and stuff like that, and as well as just the humor that's persisted throughout some of the games, right? And then not only that, not only is the voice actor who's doing Sonic, right, really selling this character much better now, seeing a lot more of Jim Carrey's performance as Dr. Robotnik. That is classic Jim Carrey at the height of his roles back in the day, and that is what I expect out of him as a actor and a comedian, right? That is a true method actor right there, and I'm loving what he's doing. So that film has me much more excited now than I was before, which was not at all. Now I'm actually like, I want to see this film. This looks like my kind of film now. I don't care. I was like, this might actually be a good or decent video game film, right? And we talked about this last week, Kofi. I was like, I want to know, so, starting with you, because you were almost as opinionated as I was on this. What did you think about the new trailer, and what do you think about the new design?
Sorry, give me about 30 seconds. Hold on.
He's like, whoa, give me a second. Well, while he's doing that, right, Kofi, you want to go ahead and lead off?
You broke up for a second there.
I said, well, he's taking a second to get himself readjusted. You want to take it? You want to go ahead and lead off on that?
Yeah. So I do want to just recap. I remember even before the first trailer dropped, we saw a teaser image of what Sonic might look like, and the horrific version of him was outlined. And I remember thinking, is this even real? That it's just some sick joke that some fan made. He's not going to be a human wearing, like Nike sneakers and running around. That's not going to happen. And then, like you said, the horrific original trailer came out, and it lowered my expectations already, because we all know that video game adaptations to movies, there's like 2 of them that we find acceptable, and that's like a guilty pleasure type range. So, yes, I love Jim Carrey in this role. I love that they listened and they gave their, animation team seemingly enough time to make this game movie without too much crunch. So, yeah, I'm very excited. I'll be honest. Let's say that this was the original trailer. I don't know how hype I would have been. It's kind of like, because of this huge change, I feel like I have an obligation to walk into the theater, and I just hope it's at least a B movie.
If it's a B movie, I think that's better than what we would have with a lot of other video game films, right?
This is true.
Because like me and you, we both said that Hitman, guilty pleasure. That was a guilty pleasure for us, right? We both enjoyed Assassin's Creed. That one's a bit more, not more of a guilty pleasure, but that one's an enjoyable film. But like the Resident Evil films, guilty pleasures and stuff like that. But this one actually looks like it could be a good B movie. Hey, what's up, Sleepy? And you found the boggling on the ship in Star Wars? Now I need to know. I'll look for this later. Op, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. What are your thoughts on the redesign for Sonic, and how did you feel from the new trailer? Right? How did that make you feel about the film now?
To be honest, I'm actually going to see it now. Like at first, I looked at the designs like what the hell is this? Like, what were they thinking with this previous design? But like how they actually adapted and changed it, and now I'm really digging it now. I don't necessarily feel the creators' critiques about the eyes not connecting. I understand why. That's how you originally drew. That's how you originally drew Sonic. But at the same time, as far as adapting a, I guess, anime character into a real life scene, it's not always one to one. There's going to be some compromises or adjustments in some cases or whatever. But like, I don't know, like, if his eyes really connected in this real life movie, it would look kind of weird at that point because hmm, it's too faithful to the original design, and at that point, and of course, everything's not gonna care for it well. But overall, I love it. Like, to be honest, people were saying that they think they did this on purpose, the original design, Turbo One, and they just waited to release this newer one. I don't believe that, but if that was true, that's a pretty big gamble at this point because like they pissed off a lot of people. And even though a lot of people do like a new design, there's no guarantee they're going to go and watch the movie at this point because that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way at this point. And we know how the internet is. They'll praise something online, but barely anybody will support it in some cases as well. So it might happen with this movie, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to see it. I'm glad this new design came out because this is definitely more faithful than the original one because that was that was terrible.
See, you're not wrong about people making a part of a issue, causing a massive discussion or change, and pushing some sort of agenda, and then not supporting. I think this one has a lot more support because this actually came from the game fans who were actually like wanting this to be good. Because when we hear about gaming films, we're just like, maybe this would be the one. And then we're just like, no, because of the fact that there's something that's lost along the way. This one, a lot of them were just like, okay, it's Sonic. It's all humor and fast moving, right? You can literally make this a kid-style action film, like Spy Kids back in the day, but just have a good design for Sonic, right? And it can have all the silly, stupid humor that we would expect, and it would be okay, right? This is one of those ones that's like, it's easy to do, because it's more acceptable than looking at a film like Assassin's Creed or Resident Evil or Hitman and a lot of those more very unique styles storytelling. It's like why you couldn't do BioShock in a film. I mean, maybe you could pull off BioShock in a film, but it's very hard to, right? Because there's a lot going on with that sells it as a game that appeals to only gamers, right? But something like Sonic, you can take a story of Sonic in any way possible and it could be a movie. Just like they made plenty of TV shows with Sonic, right? It's one of those ones that can actually fit that much, much better. And I'm glad with the redesign. It was well done. You're right, there are compromises. But his eyes not being connected like you see right here with his classic design, right?
It's better.
Yeah, it's better. It works fine. I was like, it makes him have a human look, right? But not like, human. But like, he still looks like how you would expect him. Big boots, big size gloves, actually looks like a hedgehog and stuff like that, but cartoony, you know? It looks absolutely... Yes, Megatron, there's a Robotech topic here in a bit for you, my man. But how did you feel about seeing Jim Carrey and really starting to see him strut off his stuff in this new trailer? Like, we got a glimpse of him in the original trailer, and people were just like, okay, well, Jim Carrey's the only good thing. Now that you see this, how do you feel about him?
Right now, I feel like he really complements the movie at this point in time because Robotnik, like he's really a wacky, crazy character in the Sonic universe as well. And to see like Jim Carrey take his character and just push it beyond it, turn it to 11 is really dope. So at first he was going to carry the movie with the original design, but now he's actually going to complement it now and add to it as well. So that's really good. That's really good in my book for right now. But I'm really excited because I don't remember the last movie he's been in. I think the last one was probably about some penguins or some shit. I don't know. I didn't see it. But like I'm really excited to see him just wild out in this, like, I guess probably the most different movies ever played in currently right now.
Yeah. I would say the last movie that I really remember him in is that he was in Kick-Ass 2 a few years back.
Oh shoot, I didn't even see that film.
Yeah, I was say because he played.
Yes.
Yeah, he played Major Stars and Stripes.
You know, yeah, you're right. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Yep. I was say I remember. That's why I'm the walking encyclopedia, baby boys. Like
My most fond memories are the Ace Ventura, of course, the one everybody knows him for.
Ace Ventura, classic films, of course. Big Fat Liar is another one. You know, There's plenty of classic Jim Carrey films, and this feels like classic Jim Carrey humor, right?
Yeah.
That's what we would want.
Prince being himself, and it fits like in all his movies.
Jay Slayer, no, I have not gotten the Tokyo Ghoul game that came out yesterday. I do want to check out more of it because I was interested in it, but I had to see what they do with it, right? I was looking forward to it though because it was an action RPG and not just another fighting game. So I'll have to look more into that one, Jay. But yeah, dude, Jim Carrey is absolutely gonna complement this film now more so than just carry the film because that design earlier was no. So I agree with you on that one. All right. With that being said, we're gonna go hop on to our next topic, and this one is one I know I really want to talk about, right? Because everyone brought this up earlier, right? Everyone was talking about this. Everyone was hype about this, and I think that this is something that absolutely needs to be talked about because it's a two-parter, right? And as you can see right over here, right there, we have the clown prince of crime himself, right? Joker. My God, has this film been something special, right? Talking about a rated R film that dethroned Deadpool, right? Which was a great R-rated comic book film. Humorous, violent, what we would expect out of him. This one was a more serious storytelling film. And a lot of people were going to dismiss it before it came out. Then when it came out, it was critically praised by everyone because of the story. And this has been a movie that was a massive underdog, right? Because everyone was not sure how to feel about it because not everyone knew how they felt about Joaquin Phoenix until we started seeing more and more of his promos really selling the character, right? Well, just about 2 weeks ago, I believe, we talked about how it just recently had passed $800 million, right? Well, as of yesterday, Joker now is the first rated R film to cross $1 billion. It is the first R-rated film to cross $1 billion. It is now in a league of its own on what it was able to do. And not only did it cross $1 billion, it is one of the lowest budget films in the $1 billion club. Because I believe this film had a budget of $55 million, and now it's made $1 billion. And if you take out marketing and then of course the upfront costs that movies and movie theaters have to take, you're looking at still roughly probably about $850 million profit, right? Take about $100 million out or so. I was like, typically the budget encompasses marketing and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, give it on the excess end, right? But not only that, here's the best part of what was done, right? This was achieved without it showing in China. One of the biggest movie markets outside of Hollywood. And the U.S. alone, it was at $400 million and about $600 million worldwide, which is Europe and pretty much all of Europe and South America and a few other small areas like India. And of course Canada and stuff like that. But this is still a large market that has been untouched, and it was able to achieve $1 billion. That's something amazing that no one can take away from both Joaquin Phoenix, who did a great job and deserves a Oscar nomination, right? The Oscar pitches are starting to go. He deserves Best Actor for this year. I'm just saying, he does. He did a great job with that film. But them pushing for Best Picture, I'm all okay with that, right? I was like, don't get me wrong, I love the Russo brothers and what Endgame did, but this film itself was an achievement. Because it wasn't just a comic book character movie, right? No. This had a lot more going on that. This was a story about society and the climate that we're in that is prevalent nowadays, but just set in a comic book universe. Because of the fact that it took place in Gotham. We saw him go to Arkham and everything like that. But it still has so much drawn on how society is. And that's what Todd Phillips wanted to do. And besides the fact that it just crossed $1 billion, he said before he would never do a sequel for this film. Well, he said Now, there's one condition that would make him even consider doing a sequel, especially since Joaquin Phoenix himself said that he would like to come back for the character. He said they would only do a sequel if the next film they're still able to write it and have as much social impact as this one does, right? If it still can deliver a similar message and not just be Joker going wild and crazy just because he's Joker, right? And none of that. He wants it to still have an impact. And I think that's a fair assessment and a fair reason to want to wait and see if you'd even consider doing a sequel. Instead of just announcing something and just going with whatever comes to mind. Up. I know you were so hyped when you saw that film. What are your reactions hearing about it crossing $1 billion and now knowing how Todd Phillips feels about a sequel?
I was not expecting this at all. I was expecting like minimum, actually no, max, 450 million for this movie, because it's gonna ride a lot just for the name alone and the character. But just for it to cross $1 billion at this point, it's just like, this is unheard of. This is literally objectively unheard of at this point, man. Like, I'm just in awe right now. Like, it crossed $1 billion. This movie had what? No VFX as far as I can tell, like none whatsoever. If it did, it's bare minimum. No action scenes, nothing like that. Very slow pace, like a slow build up throughout the entire time. It's a personal journey of a man getting shit on throughout the entire movie, and it crossed $1 billion, bro. Like this, like I don't think not a lot of people realize how critical this movie is, not only for comic movies but movies in general. Because like for the longest, the main criticism against comic movies was like they're kind of like sucking away all the attention from the other quality movies out there as well, which I understand to a degree. But like for a comic movie that's not even really that big of a comic movie to begin with, gross this much money, is this popular as well, I think it kind of gives hope for other creators as well to continue pursuing their passion in the cinema as well. In cinema, and it's not lose hope that it's possible if you actually hone your craft and create something good. There's a good chance that it'll get supported. Of course, it's not definite, it's not guaranteed, but like I think it gives them hope to continue to pursue their craft, and people will follow and support them. But man, yeah, like this is amazing. As far as what Todd Phillips said about getting a sequel, that's dope. But how this movie is, like, I don't know if we really need one.
And that's how he feels. And like I said, he said that he only would consider it if he has a story that he can expand on the journey of Arthur Fleck that makes sense at this point. That would sell more to building that growth and have that same kind of impact, not just a sequel to do a sequel. And I respect that. I really
wish more directors, creators had that same mentality going into movies, because like right now, like I guess I'm probably only focusing on like comic movies, especially for Marvel. It's like they make a movie, like they have the entire process, the entire saga planned out. I'm like, do y'all put of course you put effort in it, but you put any life into this? Aside making a quota?
Like, I think that we've seen that is that now a lot of the films are telling their own story, right? And they're self-contained, but they tie up to other stories and have a greater impact.
They're excluded from this.
Yeah, but I totally get where you're coming from on Marvel, but I think they've done it right, or they started getting it better about it, is that the films itself told the singular story that they were trying to tell, but tied it all together into the overarching story. DC is now selling, hey, you want an individual story? We will sell you an individual story. And they're doing it better now. They're doing it right. And I think that's what they've been needing to do from the get-go, right?
Definitely. I'm just so happy for this movie. Like, this is like a resounding fact that DC can do their own thing, and it's going to work for them. People will support it. Like, after Justice League, every movie that they create so far that wasn't trying to tie into a big universe has been a hit for them. Aquaman, Shazam, now Joker. Hopefully Birds of Prey will follow the same. That's a little iffy right now. I'm excited for it, but we're going to see how that goes out. Yeah. Wonder Woman 2 is going to be dope. I'm pretty sure this will get a lot of support as well.
And Wonder Woman is one of them. While it tied into Justice League, it was still its own thing, right? And it did it right. That's what they need to do. That's what they should have been doing. And I'm glad they're starting to see that, and it's working out for them. Because Shazam was a success. Aquaman was a hell of a success, and and now Joker was blown away.
It's
And
the big success.
yeah, and you're right. I was expecting it to maybe hit 300 million, maybe 400 million, right? You said about 450. That was low ballpark for us, or that was high ballpark for us. Like we said, this will probably do some interest, right? This would be for some people, and it might do fairly decent for what it was. But the levels that it hit, this was unheard of. We weren't even considering this before that film launched or came out. Like we were just saying, yo, Joaquin Phoenix is gonna kill this role, but we weren't thinking that it was gonna be a massive box office smash and the kind of records it'd be breaking.
This shows that there's a lot of people who really appreciate this type of artwork in movies, because I was not expecting this type of support from people as well. Because you get these deeper character-driven movies and whatnot. A lot of people really don't care for them or don't show that much support. Like whatever, I might rent it or something like that. But like, people went out in droves to see this after all the criticism backlash it got from the media, and of course, the ones that got stiff armed who couldn't see the preview viewings of it as well. And for that just be as successful as it was, like, they're not gonna admit, but that's probably the biggest black eye that they've ever gotten in their business as far as being critics. Because like, they took a dumb movie and like everybody just dogpiled them just going forward, and the movie was so successful afterwards. Like, it's like this is an L of the century for them at this point. Like, this is what happens when you try to be fake and not be real about it. Man, this is just crazy. Like, Kofi, what do you think about it, man? Because I'm gonna keep going on about this because I'm just like,
he's like I'm a cat for this film all day. Let's go. He's like, Kofi, what you got? Kofi?
And he's dumbfounded too. Oh, okay.
All right, we left him speechless over there. Kofi, you good, my boy? I think. Kofi. Oh, he said he'll be right back. He literally just said that. All right. Well, we're gonna we'll come back and get Kofi's on that in a second. But man, you're not wrong. This shows that a lot of people, right, especially for what was being said, that this movie is a lot of people are claiming it to be one of the best movies of all time because of the fact of just the storytelling and the social climate that is coming out from it, right? And the impact that it speaks on. And you're talking about, like, you mentioned how Arthur basically got shit on the whole film. You're not wrong. And this all ties back into the original aspect of what drove the Joker, like what we saw in his origin, right? Or one of his origin stories, right? And Under the Red Hood, right? That he was just some wannabe comedian, wasn't getting anywhere. Wife left him, just bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. And then he meets one guy or two guys who say, hey, you want to make some money? We got you. We're a part of the Red Hood gang. All you got to do, go with us on this easy heist, wear this mask, and you'll be fine, right? Goes through with it. Follows through with them. They get caught by the security. Didn't turn out to be easy heist. Lo and behold, here comes Batman. Batman thinks that whoever's under the Red Hood is obviously the leader and stuff like that, and he thinks he's some crazy dude. He didn't know what to do. He ran and then tripped and fell into that vat of chemicals, and that's what made him mutate into the Joker, right? Because he realized that life is just one big joke. And that was the very concept as well as the Killing Joke, right? How close is someone to that one bad day to just snap, right? That's what the Killing Joke was all about. It was like, how far could Joker push the Batman to get him to kill him, right? How close, how much could he push someone and try and break them to get them to that one bad day to just go crazy, to lose their mind, to break someone mentally. Like, that's why he tortured Jim Gordon. That's why he shot Barbara. Then raped her, took pictures of it, and forced Jim to watch that while he tortured him until Jim was saved by Batman, right? But Jim was strong. He held out, and he knew that everything that was worse, much for Barb, right? Worse than what he had to go through. And he was going to endure that for his daughter, right? And Joker just wanted to see how close he can get Batman to break. And if at the end of the original comic, right, we know that it made like a pool of red, and supposedly the ending was left unanswered, but was thought that when Joker actually made Batman laugh, that was Batman finally breaking and killing the Joker. But that's left to interpretation. And this film followed exactly that. That one guy who has that bad of a day and then just starts to see life as one big joke, how he can have an impact when he starts realizing everything around him is, maybe he's not the crazy one. Maybe everyone else is crazy. Or maybe everyone's crazy together and they just haven't realized it yet, right? I think that's what makes this film so unique. So it's something else. And we'll come back to this when Kofi gets back, but we're gonna hop on to the next one because this is one that me and you were talking.
I feel like, as far as like expounding on, they don't need a sequel. I feel like with how they set up this Joker movie, they could potentially like use this to I guess for a canonical reason why there's different iterations of Joker throughout the years, or probably just whatever area they want to do it. Because we know in the comic books there's different, none of the quote unquote types of Joker, because there's different depictions of them as well throughout the comic era. So I feel like they can use this foundation from the Joker movie to probably expound the Joker universe and get those different iterations, those different depictions of him in Batman movies. I think it'll probably be pretty dope.
You're not wrong, because in this one they show that the Joker isn't one person. It's a mantle. It's a philosophy.
Pretty much, it's a mantle now.
Yeah, it's a mantle. It's a philosophy that anyone could be the Joker if they just understand the ideology of all that. If they understand what he's trying to do. And like we know there's multiple iterations between the movies and stuff like that, but as well in the comics. And as far as we know, there was 3 Jokers that exist at one time when Batman met with who is it? Not the Oracle, but he met with someone and found out that there exists 3 Jokers at the same time, which was the trickster, the gangster, and then the psychopath, which we all talked about before, right? And we talked about that way after Justice League's or Suicide Squad's Joker, and then how we were first hearing about this version of Joker coming up way back before we started seeing everything. So I think it's definitely now earned its right to be a mantle, and what it's going to be going forward.
Right.
So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and touch on the next topic while we wait for Kofi to get back and get his thoughts on it and all that. So speaking of mangas, right? You're the manga man now, Op, and all that. There's one specific manga that we both love. I was like, because I've been loving the anime, and I'm really looking forward to starting that manga. That really kind of got us going, right? And that's Vinland Saga, right here. Vinland Saga has been so good, and still people are not talking about that anime or that manga, and that is so sad because who doesn't want to see a badass animated series about Vikings? Like legit Vikings. Those fights, dude, those fight scenes are beyond gory, beyond graphic, but so well choreographed. And that's amazing to see, right? Well, it recently came out that the creator is now starting the final arc of the manga, so that way he can end it. And that's one of two things, and we've talked about this before, right? That's a sad thing because, when it's a series that's so good, you want it to try and go on as long as it can, because of the fact that you kind of don't want it to stop, right? You want it to just see how long it can go, right? I mean, look at One Piece, right? Look at One Piece. 20 years, and Oda's still going on it, right? But at the same time, at some point, you kind of want to know, did they have an ending in mind? Do they know where they want this to go? Do they know what the ending is? Are they working towards that ending, or are they kind of writing at the time and then coming up with the ending later and then starting to work towards it? Well, the fact that he's starting to work on the final arc and that that series, right, that saga is coming to a close, I think that's a good thing to know that he had an idea for that story, because there's a lot of really good story arcs in that series, right? And I was like, and I know that the anime is getting close to ending its first season, and it's not even like a majority of the way through the manga. I was like, so I know that the anime series can go for quite some time, but the fact that the manga has its ending in sight is a good thing because it shows that he is telling the full, complete story that he wanted to tell. And I think that's a good thing that a lot of people fail to do nowadays, because then you get put down like the Bleach path, right? You get that ending that you want, then everyone wants you to keep doing more, and then you start writing a bunch of new stories in addition, and then it just feels like it's tacked on and it's not good. You know, that's what really hurt Bleach in a lot of ways, besides from just from the anime, but from the manga as well. So I think seeing this, right, is a really good sign of what's to come for the future, right? What is your thoughts about knowing that the series is getting close to an end?
To be honest, I really made my peace with it. Like at this point, the last thing we need is such like a really good season of anime is for more of them, anime or manga, to get dragged down longer than it should be. I'm pretty sure you can bring more good examples of this happening than me, but like, it's really better if it comes to a natural conclusion instead of like the publisher, whoever, demands, hey, yo, this is like really popping right now. I know you have an ending in sight, but like just postpone it for like 4 or 5 arcs so we can keep this mind train going. Like, once you start doing that, that's when like you can start injecting filler and all that stuff. It's gonna start getting convoluted and get diluted in the plot and whatnot. And it just makes the ending less impactful at the point. Case in point for me, like Naruto, it wasn't necessarily dragged out, but like the handling of it being like being such an expounding and long told story could have handled better in my opinion. Yes, they added filler. Filler does help in some ways, but like it was getting to a point. It was getting a little monotonous with the filler in Naruto Shippuden at certain points. Cause like it was really getting to a point where friends like, all right, the show coming back. Like, it's gonna feel after feel like when's this shit start come back for us? So it's really better for anime to come to a natural conclusion than to get dragged on.
Yeah, because
at that point, like,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, what I was gonna say is that you're saying that how there was so much filler in Naruto because watching it growing up, you didn't realize what filler was until you go back and find out about it, and you're like, oh, yeah, why did they spend like 2 episodes talking about them having to work and help out at a ramen shop and learn how to make ramen, right? It's like, the hell is... Yeah, I was just like, why are we learning about them using their chakra to make ramen? Why is this a thing? Like, why? It's like, come on now. And I was like, it's so hard to make filler interesting outside of the typical tropes of, oh, hey, guess what? There's a beach. Oh, hey, guess what? We're going to do a beach episode because fan service and we need a week to fill out, right? Or, hey, guess what? There's a hot spring. We're all going to a hot spring because fan service and we need a week to figure something out.
The best example next to Bleach is Boruto. Because, like, that, for the anime, those first, 30 or so episodes? Horrible.
Dude, that first 2 years worth of content just needs to be gone. It doesn't need to exist. Why? So like first 100 episodes of that, yeah, no, this whole first 100 episodes of that series does not need to exist. Had some good fights, but two good fights. Well, I mean, I guess they said like their student like shooting exam, right, had some good fights afterwards, but that whole beginning series doesn't need to exist. It could just go into bushes. I was like, because now when it's actually picking up where the manga goes, then it's supposed to get good. Because even Soul has been like, he's like, yo, once it gets to that manga content, it's gonna be good. I'm just like, then what the hell were they doing for 2 years? Like, legit, what were they doing for 2 years?
It's crazy though, because like these past 2 years, like all this content they're doing is pointless. Like, it's literally pointless because it's not gonna carry over to we'll start adapting the manga. Because if they do, that's gonna cause issues with continuity as well. So they're pretty much just throw on the bushes once they can start adapting the manga as well, which could piss off a lot of people because they got invested in this. Because they've been watching it for 2 years or so at this point, and they're gonna find out all this they're gonna get invested in. This was for nothing. So like the anime, like we know why they're doing this because they want to rush it out, and it did that while manga was getting started, so they can't adapt it at the same time because of logistic and timing issues. So they had to BS with filler, but like they should have waited because right now all this work they're doing is literally in vain. Because it's not going to matter once you start adapting the manga.
Because the only thing that did filler right, and even then you complained about it, was One Piece. Because when they did filler, right, they did full arcs, right? It was a story. But you said that the story that was done in the filler, it felt like it actually added something to the series. It didn't feel like it was just there. And that's so hard to achieve. And I think One Piece is probably one of the few that have been able to do something like that, right? Doesn't mean that sometimes they do it too much and it could be a pain in the ass in between major story arcs. But at least they're able to pull that off. Unlike what we're seeing with Naruto.
To be honest, most of the time you won't even notice the One Piece. Like, it was that well executed, like you said earlier. You wouldn't notice.
Yep. It's one of those things, man, that it's just like, but why? So I'm glad to know that the creator of Vinland Saga has his ending in mind. Just like we talked about the creator of Demon Slayer. She's working on her ending. And that's a good thing. I hope that whatever project that they do next is amazing. They know exactly what they want to do from the get-go and are able to achieve that in a fairly well established serialization. You know, they don't need to take 15 years to tell one story. If they can do it in 5 years and 7, 8 volumes or however many manga volumes that they do, because it depends on also how many light novels that they make to tell it. They're able to do it fairly well and go for it. I want them to. I want them to be able to make. I want to see more manga artists or authors, and same with like light novel authors, be on the level of like Stephen King. Man, look at that man's history with his books, right? Look at how many books that man's written, from single one-off stories, right, to his collection of short stories, to even his long-running series. Look at the Dark Tower series. Right? Just this is going a little bit off left, but look at his Dark Tower series, right? 16.
You good? Keep going.
Look at that. 16 novels in that one series across the span of 15 years while he was still doing other books. I want them to be able to keep doing the stories that they want. I was like, but I want them to. I was like, when you look at manga and light novels, they have storytelling, but they also have more pictures, right? And that style of art, right? And they're a much different feel. But I want them to be able to say that by the end of their legacy, because when it comes to light novel authors and manga authors, there's so much competition, and so much that needs to be done to be successful in that industry and to keep going in that industry. I want them to be able to put out in their career. Say, look, I did 5, 6 different serializations. How many of them were completed? Well, 1. What happened to the others? Well, I had to cancel one project, and then the other ones never got an ending, or they're still ongoing, but I'm not a part of it. So what did you contribute? Well, there's my 1. I want them to be able to say, I have, look, 5 serializations. How many are completed? All 5. How long did they run? They each ran for, 12, 14 novels each, about 8, 10 mangas themselves, all about 5 years each. That's an achievement, right? That's something that's unique to that career compared to what you would see with a typical author. I want them to be able to do that. So I think that authors that are able to do and reach the end of their stories is so far and few in between that it kind of sucks. But I'm glad to know that it's something that's in the works for some of these newer ones, and that we're not seeing others try to replicate what was done by like Oda-san with One Piece, telling one story that's a span of 20 years. Same with the creator of Detective Conan. That's been running for almost 25 years, and he has an ending, but he's still writing other stories to fill into that point. We don't need more stories that are like that. Same with what kind of hurt Fairy Tail and a few others. Look at the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho. He reached the end of what he wanted with that series, both the anime and the manga, and then he was also doing Hunter x Hunter. And Hunter x Hunter, I believe, is getting ready to come to a close too. And he has 2 massive selling series that are about to finish, right? That's an achievement, right? 2 very long running series.
We get that same energy with Berserk, because good lord, that's will we ever get an ending for that?
I don't know, because of the fact that's a whole other issue, because of the fact that one just keeps getting stalled, right? That one just keeps taking hiatuses.
I don't want to touch the latest manga.
Like
I know it's gonna be a while.
if he was able to put all that right back into it, right, and focus on that series, and not take so many hiatuses, I'm guaranteed we would have a lot more chapters than what we do, because there's a lot of chapters in that series, right? There's a lot, but we would have so much more, and probably be closer to some sort of ending or some crazy shit that's going on in that series.
I would be perfectly fine with like get one chapter a month, like we did with Attack on Titan. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I actually finished that one too. Well, caught up to it last week as well.
Yeah, or like I mean,
like,
Shield Heroes one chapter a month. So I agree completely, man. I agree completely. I wish that we would get that, but we don't even get that. We get maybe a chapter
year.
A year. I was like, if we're lucky, we get one. We get two in a year. I was like, and that was from the past like 5 years that he's been on hiatus.
Is everything good with him? Is like health related reasons? Is he like
there was health related reasons for a long while, but I don't know recently. He hasn't kind of spoken out much lately. But I hope we see something with Berserk, because man, I told you I'm gonna buy that omnibus version of Berserk, right? That massive compilation omnibus. Like, you're talking thick ass book that has all the compilations of all the volumes and a giant leather bound book, hardback cover, and it has the Berserk symbol right in the center of it. Like, I want to get that. I'm just like, I need more than just the two of all the mangas that are out. I was like, give me the third one, finish it, get to the ending. It's like, just something, please.
Maybe when we're 40.
Yeah, at this point, we're definitely not going to see the end of it by the time we're 30. I was like, I sure as hell ain't.
Right.
Oh, man, it's crazy. It's something else. All right. Let's go ahead and hop on to the next topic. Kofi, guys, Kofi had to step out. He said that he's going to try and come back. Something happened with his old lady, so making sure everything's all right with that, because he's also got the baby that he's got to worry about. So we hope he comes back. But this topic, right, is special for me. For those who can't tell from the headwear here, from this wonderful beanie that I'm wearing to my very shirt, and if they can't see from the up here, Robotech is a classic anime series, especially for mecha fans, right? Robotech is very special. It has a very unique history. And I think I used the term unique, but I was like, when I say a unique history, it's because it actually does have a very special history, right? Originally, in the US, when it came out, it was under the name of Robotech, right? However, what we got with Robotech was actually the combination of 3 different anime series from Japan that all kind of came together to make one massive series. And that original series was known as Macross, or Macross, depending on how you pronounce it. But Macross was 3 different animes that came together in the West when they came out in the 80s to create what became known as Robotech. And Robotech was probably one of the biggest mecha animes that kind of helped the mecha movement, especially over here in the States, right? Gundam was the one who completely created, really kind of founded the genre, right? Gundam is the one that sold everyone on, giant space robots, I'm with it. But Robotech is kind of what brought the mecha love to the West. And I'm excited for it, right? Because the fact that the director of the It remakes, both Chapter 1 and 2, actually recently came out and stated that he's actually going to be working on the Robotech live action. And apparently this project's been kind of in and out of development and a lot of production for a while, right? There was a lot of development hell and uncertainty what they were going to be doing with the project. And the last known bit of information was from the screenwriter in 2017, saying that he was going to be working on the Macross collaboration, or Robotech collaboration, right? Well, just earlier this month, after the launch of after the release of It Chapter 2, there was a sit down with the director about that, and there was a lot of known aspects that he loved Robotech, and he actually sat down and confirmed that there was a Robotech collaboration in development, and that he's actually going to be working as the director for that, and that he's excited because Robotech has a big impact for him. And I'm kind of looking forward to this, right? Because this comes after earlier this year we got confirmation that they're doing a Gundam live action, right? And I think that now is a perfect time for Mecha to make its revitalization, to make its comeback, and kind of get the love that it's been lacking for so long. And I'm glad that the two biggest series that can really sell Mecha are the ones doing live actions. You know, you have Gundam, which is the king of Mecha, and then Robotech, which helped to bring that Mecha love to the West. We saw the response to a lot of people when Guillermo del Toro did the first Pacific Rim, because it brought back that love of kaiju, right? Classic kaiju films, giant monsters causing destruction, and then Mecha, because he had giant robots fighting those giant monsters. That revitalized a lot of love, not just from those genres from Japan, right? But that kind of intrigue and action and stories, right, here in the West. So I think that seeing these two big, massive series come out and say, guess what, we're going to be doing live action adaptations of them, I think this is great news for fans, right? So I want to know your thoughts on hearing that the director from It is actually confirming that Robotech is coming, and kind of hearing a bit about this history. How do you feel about that?
This is great, but at the same time, I've watched none of these movies, the It's and the Robotech shows, so I really can't cap first until I touch that series. But like, to get a live adaptation for a mecha movie, this is dope. Like Pacific Rim, I love what that movie did. The second one I couldn't finish. I know you enjoyed it, but I couldn't get through it, man. But like, to see more movies like this genre get supported, I'm definitely for it as well. So it's exciting, but like, I want to watch the source material, so get a better understanding, so I get properly hyped for it as well. So I can't cap it right now, because I'll be fraud if I did, because I know nothing about them.
Oh no, that's fine. Like I said, let's say Robotech, I still love it. I was like, it aged okay. I wouldn't say that it's perfect, but I wouldn't say it's cheesy like a lot of classic 80s animes. But it definitely has its cheesy moments, I'll say that. But it was still one of those series that really showed that love and brought the hype of Mecha to the West. And I'll say this, right? Definitely give it a shot. Watch a little bit of it to kind of see why people would like it. Because not only is it just Mecha and badass fights from the Macross series, it also had space pirates. And everyone knows that I love space pirates, because Space Pirate Harlock is still probably one of the greatest series of all time. Just saying. The original anime, but I also love that 3D movie that came out. I will cap for that any day, because anyone who says otherwise can fight me. I will throw hands. But it's good to see. I know you said that you could get to the second Pacific Rim, which is understandable, but I said that was more of a action film compared to the drama of the first one, right? But I hope that we see more growth of that from that series coming forward with what they do with the sequel. If there is a sequel and all that. So it's definitely going to be more interesting with everything going forward. But that being said, I'm really glad to know that there's so much talent and so much love for a lot of these classics that are now coming forward with everything, and continuing that drive, that love, and that support for a lot of these series that a lot of people forgot about and really wasn't paying any attention to. Or may not even remember outside of those who were around during that era. Like, I know Megatron, K-Mega, Lemon, One Away Dragon TV, guys who've been on our show with us, right? That's their era of anime. That's from when they grew up. That's stuff they remember. And I know they have a lot of hype and love from those old series and classic franchises. Megatron was in the chat earlier, and he was excited to hear about Robotech. So hopefully he got to hear this. If not, I hope he hears it later. But that stuff from theirs And now seeing that there's still so much appreciation for those classics, and now a new generation gets to get introduced to those, I'm excited, right? I think that's something well worth being excited about, as that it's coming out for a whole new generation, and hopefully our generation and those who are coming around after us are able to appreciate what this series has done for those fans, right? For that series and for that genre. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this does, right? I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where it comes from. Now, from there, we're gonna hop onto the next subject here. And speaking of classics, right? We're gonna go real old school right here. What gang of crime-solving adolescents and their stupid dog is more notorious and more well known than the Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Inc. gang, right? And Scooby-Doo has been around for some years. You're talking about from the classics of Hanna-Barbera animations, right? Classic series that has been around for well over decades, right? But we've also seen that Scooby-Doo has kind of aged with the times. Something that very few of some of those old school cartoons were able to do. Scooby-Doo went through so many different phases and shifts, done so many different spin-offs and new remakes of cartoons, and has always stayed prevalent, which is very hard to do with some of those classic shows, right? Scooby-Doo's been able to manage it. Scooby-Doo's actually been one of the few that have been adaptable. But every time a new series comes out, you get old fans and new fans alike that are excited for that. Except for that live action. Except for the actress who played Velma, because who baby she thick. And I'm not the only one who will cat for that. I know my boy Soul said that he loved her too. Just saying. But there's been no old school, especially classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon that has been able to persist as long as Scooby-Doo has. And now we're starting to see another remake and a classic retelling of the Scooby-Doo series, and for a brand new generation yet again. They just released the trailer for the new movie, a 3D animated film, right, as well, of Scooby-Doo, simply called Scoob. And it goes into the early days of the relationship between Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, when they first met and how they came to be together. And then from there it explores how they met Fred, Daphne, and Velma, and all kind of formed their everlasting friendship and bond, and became the crime solvers that we know today. And when we saw the trailer, the big thing about these remakes is always the artistic direction, right? How this interpretation and the designs of these characters. There's always going to be some, what's the word? Liberties when every new adaptation, every new interpretation of these characters comes out. And there's some that are a little bit better than others, and there's some that are just kind of like, I don't know about that. But this one, for being a 3D series, is wonderfully well done. Me and you both saw the trailer and were immediately hyped on it. I'm really looking forward to seeing this film, because that's going back to my childhood. Because I remember seeing the original Scooby-Doo series. Well, a lot of the reruns of it, right? Before they did a lot of the newer spin-offs, especially on WB, like What's New Scooby-Doo and that whole spin-off. Even we were around during a lot of the films. Think about how many films that Scooby-Doo has had over its entirety of its history.
Cranked out a lot of them.
And how many of them are also special collaborations with a lot of very famous actors. There's Scooby-Doo and the WWE, because they had a movie with John Cena multiple times. They did a crossover with Kiss, right? Like, Scooby-Doo has been around and across so many different things. It's very interesting to kind of see that continued love of this whole series, right? So I'm looking forward to this new film with what they're doing with Scoob. because not only did they capture the feel of the original, the new designs look very believable for a 3D film, for an animated film. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this interpretation and new foundation for a new generation. What are your thoughts on it, Op?
Man, I'm definitely all in for this movie. Like Scooby Doo, like most of the movies, I didn't miss them, but like they've been relatively decent from what I've seen. Like in the shows, for me personally, I enjoy a lot of them. I know a lot of people don't like them. It was like a '90s or early 2000s ones of. Well, I think it was What's New Scooby Doo. I think it was, or was like had the baby version of them. I can't remember which one it was called exactly, but like apparently a lot of people hate that one. But I don't know. But like for the shows, like they've been pretty steady quality, especially the Mystery Incorporated one, like in high school.
That was a pup named Scooby Doo. That was their younger years.
Scooby Doo. Okay, yeah, okay, good. Yeah, that's the one like, a lot of people hate. I think I can't remember, but like Mystery Incorporated, like their best adaptation for the Scooby Doo license, where I've seen if the entire run next to the original one, like it's so it made me so sad when the first season came out. They went like a hiatus. It's like a second one. I think it got canceled. They brought it back. I think it was canceled. I don't know, but like for a show, that was the best thing I ever seen. So seeing actually given a movie, and from what we've seen, like they're actually in a way, they kind of do like a new telling of their origin stories. Like I'm definitely all for it, man. Like I love seeing new content for this IP as well. So I'm just excited right now, man. Like and like from what they show for like Scooby Doo and Shaggy's interactions when they first meet, like it's legitimately funny. Like the movie looks like it's gonna be actually pretty funny, not a corny way as well. And on top of that, it's gonna be a kids movie as well. Like that really shows the quality they actually put into this movie to make it actually not just like some kiddie BS kiddie movie to just throw out there for the kids to enjoy. Like this is something for all of the fans of all different ages of this franchise as well. So
Yeah.
like it's a dope time, man. It's really dope. Like our childhoods are getting like they're getting their justice due this year. Like the Pokemon movie, later on Sonic. I think that's next year. I can't remember. And now Scooby Doo movie coming out as well. Like what's next, bro? Lilo and Stitch. Like what are we gonna get next after this?
Right? It's something that's crazy to think about. What could be done as a really good live action with the history of something like this, man. It's like who knows? Because like live action Lilo and Stitch, that one's definitely going to be interesting on how they pull that one off, right?
It'll be hard though. No lie, that's definitely gonna be hard.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be hard because you gotta think about how they're gonna create Stitch and how he's gonna look. Then you gotta think of how they're gonna do Pleakley. Then of course how they're gonna do Jamba and everything else. So there's a lot with that one.
That budget's gonna be crazy though. The animation budget, VFX, ooh, it's gonna be up there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he finally returns. Kofi, is the baby all right?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Oh no, it's good. We figured you got dad duties you got to do. I was like, the wife was probably telling you, hey, check on the baby, and you'd be like, yes, ma'am.
Accurate. Yeah, so I'll be honest, I'm just catching up on the Scooby-Doo movie trailer. I just rewatched it. It's really good, and it erases a lot of like the negative feelings I had around the live action films. I don't think those films were bad. Like you were saying, they weren't bad, and I agree.
They were cheesy. They were just cheesy.
Yeah, they were just like, I'll just go watch the originals, right?
Yeah.
But this animated film, I didn't realize it's like them younger, so it kind of gives them a potential to do like maybe like a trilogy. I mean, not that they need.
Oh no, it jumps across. It shows.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, if you watch the full trailer, it shows them when they were young. It shows how Scoob first met Shaggy, how they met Fred, Daphne, and Velma, and then it shows later on in the trailer when they're older. Because apparently Shaggy and Scooby go missing, and right now Daphne, Velma, and Fred are trying to find what happened to them.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're right. It looks very charming. I smiled a couple times on the interactions, and it seems like they're really treating this movie with like respect to the original show. So
exactly, and that thing, and like I said, there's very few series that have the history that Scooby-Doo has. You're talking about a show that is 50 years old. It came out in '69, right? A classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Older than all of us here, all right? And yet, each of us still can look at any Scooby-Doo series and be like, I can remember that when I was young and saw Scooby Doo, and then see the new series and be like, that still feels like Scooby Doo. No matter it may look different, it may be different, but it still feels like what we remember. That same awe we had as kids watching that series, that same love, and I think that's what
How many
makes this.
franchises are that old and still maintain some level of relevancy nowadays? Like that's is nearly unheard of for most franchises out there right now. Like Tom and Jerry,
Yeah.
you don't see anything about that anymore.
And what's sad is not even Looney Tunes, dude. And Looney Tunes are trying to make
a
it.
show on Cartoon Network, but that ended, so we have nothing right now.
Yeah, but Looney Tunes is probably the closest thing, but they haven't had anything new in a while. And I was like, and Looney Tunes, I think, is one of those that are so well known that I think they're I don't say that they're gonna be they're immemorial, but they're relevant for so long and still so well known, right? Hey, Angel, thanks for the host, girl. I was like, I think that it's just like there's very few series out there outside of really like comics, right? That can really have the history and still be relevant, like Scooby Doo is. Like, I feel if we got a new series of Looney Tunes, they would have to do a lot of changes, but those characters could still persist in today, but it's gonna be much different. I was like, it's gonna be hard to do those characters as we know. You know, some like you look at some of what antics that Bugs Bunny has got up to, right, and done. That may not be as seen or as comedic or as okayed with today than it was before. You know, you look at a character like Foghorn Leghorn. People are going to be kind of say, you know, a character from the South talking like how Foghorn Leghorn does, going to be seen as a little bit, you know, not stereotypical. Well, I guess kind of stereotypical or judgmental of that type of people, you know, right? Or those who are around and the South, right? Especially Southern style people, you know, they're going to be seen, they're going to kind of look at that as such. But it's not a bad thing. But it could...
Elmer Fudd and his gun.
Yeah, Elmer Fudd, and so that Yosemite Sam would be controversial. I was like, granted, these are cartoon characters that have been that have kind of stood the test of time, that are still known and recognizable. It's still going to be one of those things that's really hard to kind of show off, you know, or really kind of do, or anything like that.
If they get good writers, they're gonna be fine. Cause like the last show they did for Looney Tunes on Cartoon Network, the Looney Tunes show, like at first I didn't like it, but as I kept watching it, it grew on me more. Then I started understanding the humor and the jokes they're actually making with it, and I actually started to really enjoy it. But like, if they can come back, but I guess even the better writing quality for the show or movie, whatever they want to do, it can really snap if they do it right. But they need the right talent behind it.
Yeah,
They really need the right people behind it.
you're not wrong. They definitely need the right support of people behind it to be able to really like go and show them and be able to do it right. Because you're right, the humor, right, of the Looney Tunes series, it's still great humor. It's still very much classic slapstick humor. There's no more beloved rivalries than that of Sylvester the Cat and Tweety Bird, good old Coyote and Roadrunner, that are really respected. Or even really, if you look at it too, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Yeah, Bugs Bunny kind of messes with everyone, and everyone has an issue with Bugs Bunny, right? But there's no greater respected rivalry than him and Daffy Duck, than Tweety Bird and Sylvester the Cat, or Roadrunner and Coyote. Coyote and Roadrunner are the most iconic rivalries in television or cartoon history. Second only to, I was like, I couldn't even say that Tom and Jerry is just a duo, right? Because not only do you have Tom and Jerry, you also have Spike the dog. You know, Spike is as
Coyote the Roadrunner? Coyote versus the Roadrunner.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that those two have one of the most iconic rivalries. And I was like, yeah, you have Tom and Jerry as well. I was like, but Tom and Jerry also encompasses a lot of Spike the dog, and then, you know, Jerry's nephew and Tom's nephew as well with the little cats and stuff like that. I was like, there's a lot more that go into those as well. But you look at Coyote and Roadrunner, it's always Coyote and Roadrunner. I was like, very few other characters get involved between Coyote and Roadrunner. I was like, it's just one of those things that seeing what Scooby Doo is achieving with this comeback with Scoob. I really want some of those other classics to be able to make that same kind of comeback, right? I want them to be able to do that kind of love and support and cherish what the original stood for. And the classics of where they come from, you know? So I'm really looking forward to this film, if that doesn't come across. I'm looking forward to this film. And I think a lot of us here are really looking forward to this film because a lot of this is what we grew up with. A lot of it is our childhood coming back in the right ways, you know?
It looks, yeah. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. This comes out May 2020, huh? May 15th.
All I know is I'm going to be there on May 15th in 2020 to go see that film. And you know what? I don't even care. I'm gonna take my baby cousin. I'm gonna take my nephew. I was like, I'm gonna go and see that film, and I'm gonna use them as an excuse to not feel weird about it, because everyone's gonna be like, what the hell are you doing here? I'll be like, you know what? Shut up! Don't judge me.
I don't care. I'll walk in by myself. I don't give two.
Hey, listen. When I walk in by myself, not get 2 cents is the next film we're gonna talk about. You know what that film is? SpongeBob. Because SpongeBob is another one of those series. I was like, well, I'll say the more recent episodes of that show have been kind of, that's what happens when the original creator doesn't have as much input on that series anymore. But, oh, I guess in this case too, it's like, since he passed away, it's even harder. But, SpongeBob just released the trailer for a brand new film, right? And it's not just an animated film, right? No, it's a 3D claymation looking film. More so than the last SpongeBob film did. That kind of saw. What was that one called? I can't remember. Remember the last one.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yo, after the second SpongeBob movie, I stopped caring.
Yeah, because the second SpongeBob film was kind of weird. Like after the original animated one, I was like, that the second film was kind of.
I think it was the Atlantis one. Wasn't that one?
I'm not sure. I think it was yeah, I think it was the Atlantis one. I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of those things where the films that was after the original creator was no longer working on, and it just kind of got weird, right? But the new one that's coming out now. Because it was Sponge Out of Water. That's what it was. Sponge Out of Water. That was the last one. But now this one, we have a third film that's now coming out. And this one looks good because it has the feel of what the original series, what made the original cartoons so good. But seeing some of the humor in it is classic. And of course they have, the crazy cameos that we would expect out of a SpongeBob film. Because in that trailer, we got a wonderful Keanu Reeves cameo, and his entire interaction with them was hilarious. Because he's like, I'm a sage in a sage bush, so you can call me the Sage. And they're just like, but what if you're not a sage? He's like, no, I'm definitely sage. He's like, look at the flowers.
Oh man, I'm telling you, after John Wick series, what he did in the Matrix, that immortalized him.
Yeah.
But what he been doing in the John Wick series as well, that just propelled him even further.
Yeah.
This man, he's carrying almost everything, video games and movies. Not many actors do that.
Yeah, I was about to say the only one who can say that as much as Keanu Reeves is Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is the only other one who could do that, because that man is immemorial as the Joker since the original Batman animated series. Then he's portrayed the Joker's voice in movies and video games, and then he's been in all sorts of other video games of his own accord as it is. Mark Hamill's right there with you. I was like, did you know that he also played the Seeker or the Watcher in the first Darksiders game? I was like, the guy who's chained to War, that's Mark Hamill.
Crazy.
Yeah. I was like, but the new SpongeBob film, right? It's crazy for us to be able to talk about SpongeBob and be excited, because like I said, after the original creator left that series a few years ago, and then especially earlier this year when he passed away, it's kind of you kind of see where they diverted with the humor and what made the original SpongeBob kind of entertaining, because you had that childlike humor, but a lot of it as well was also double entendres, because you had that kind of adult humor that when you're an adult you can recognize it, but it would still be playful enough for a kid to understand and laugh, but not get the other side of the joke. But after he left, then it just became childish humor, and was just that, you know. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's meant to appeal to kids, but at that point, it just became the kind of
Got real monotonous after a while.
Exactly, and that's what kind of hurt the last film. But now seeing the trailer for this new SpongeBob film, I'm actually kind of excited to see something SpongeBob again, and probably well over a decade. I was like, I haven't watched SpongeBob since I was, back at school and stuff, right? Since I was in middle school, right? And that was well over a decade ago. I was gonna say. So it's crazy to think about that there's a new film, and seeing the kind of humor that's in it, it makes me realize or reminisce on watching it as a kid growing up and be like, you know what? I would like to see that. I would like to actually go and see that film and not feel bad about it. You know? Me and you are the same age. We grew up with that era of cartoons, right? And kind of saw that transition. How do you feel about this film?
To be honest, I really don't care about it.
Oh,
I'm a little bit more interested in the Squidward spinoff. I know it's against his wishes, but I just want to see what they're gonna do with it.
oh! He said, "I want
love
that
animation
Squidward
movie.
spinoff."
Yeah, I love the animation of the movie, but like as far as that, I can't see myself going to see it in theaters. That I definitely not going to.
He's like that. He's like
Online after it comes out, maybe.
He's like Scooby Doo. I'll go in there and watch it, no problem. He's like SpongeBob. Nah, that's gonna be.
No questions asked.
He's like in the closet with no one being able to see in my room. Got to have the headphones in. Got to turn off the sound so no one knows I'm watching this. He's like, no one's gonna know. He's like, no one's gonna know. It's gonna be in my secret underground bunker.
I just have no interest in the movie at all. Like outside the animation, I really just don't care. Like I just don't.
And that's fair. That's fair. I would say, but it's still interesting to see that they're trying to rebuild SpongeBob's appeal. You know, it's crazy because like when I was at New York Comic-Con for its anniversary, they had a giant replica of the Krusty Krab there. I got pictures of that, and that was really cool to see. And I'm just like, yo, it's SpongeBob. I was like, seeing this, I was like, this is kind of cool. This is nice. I had that nice of, oh, that's nice. And then I just kind of went on about because I was focused on everything else there. Kofi, what are your thoughts on this, my man?
So I also haven't seen SpongeBob in a long time. I think I'm a little bit older than you guys. So
Anything.
some of the classic shows, I think something a little bit older than SpongeBob. I'll be honest, like I'm dating myself. I'm thinking like Rugrats. That was like really something that.
Oh, Rugrats is classic too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like a lot of the charm that SpongeBob has, and seeing this trailer, the animation is really good. It just feels like you can actually touch the textures on the screen. So, not gonna be a movie I'm seeing instantly. If somehow my my kids love this film, I'd probably go see it with them, but not on the top of my list at this point.
Just use your kids as an excuse. That's all I'm saying. Just use them as an excuse. That's what you gotta do. Get away with it.
At least I have that.
Right? He's like, my kids want to see it. I swear. But yeah, I can agree with that. And Kofi, you disappeared on us earlier. We were trying to get your word on it. Before we go on to our next topic, I want to get your thoughts. Hearing that Joker crossed $1 billion, hearing the success that it has, hearing now what Todd Phillips would consider doing a sequel for, and everything. What are your thoughts on the Joker film? Hearing about its continued success, a film that a lot of people were willing to write off right off the bat, and even us saying, even we said it was going to be successful, but it wouldn't make more than like $400 million at most. And now seeing what it's doing, what are your thoughts on that whole success for that film?
I don't mean to sound like a little bit of a negative Nancy, but I do have to kind of call out the reviews of this film because a lot of critics did not like it, and they thought it was gonna, bring risk to public safety. There was a fear that there was incitement of violence. I just think it's a testament to how well the film was paced, written, presented, and yeah, I really love this film. I gotta clap it for them, like you were mentioning. It's one of the lowest budget films. Actually, I think it's the lowest budget rated R film.
Yeah, I believe it was only $55 million.
Yeah, to now joining the $1 billion club. That's a huge celebratory stance. You also asked about what a sequel might entail. So I am not a movie writer, but I think if they were to try to keep it grounded in a huge social event like the first Joker, they're going to have to continue down the society's effects on an average person. So I have a family member who works in the psychiatric field, in the inner city, and so I'm told a lot of stories about like things that I don't know people's personal stories, but I hear a lot of sad stories about people's relationships. That type of conveyance needs to happen with maybe some other characters from the Batman series. So I honestly think of Harley Quinn and her connection to the Joker and how they became, what we know them as. That could be written in a very grounded way, in my opinion. I wouldn't be the guy to write it, but I think it could be done. And if they're going to do that, they need to stick with it. Having Batman in the film, I don't know if that's a thing. I wouldn't do it. But it's just my opinion. But like really, look, if there's no sequel, I'm fine with that. I realize that that's some heavy lifting, right? The expectation's gonna be through the roof. So I'm just in a celebratory state to see this film do so well. And, a film that is a reflection of society's, some of society's qualms or current concerns is really important to me. Some of my favorite films of all time are a reflection of the current state of what maybe Americans feel like. I'll throw it out there. My number one film of all time is 1951's The Day the Earth Stood Still. It had to do with an alien basically coming to Earth and warning them on their path to nuclear war was going to destroy all of them. But all of the countries involved didn't want to listen. And eventually the alien warned them. He's like, this is your end game. You continue down this path, this is what's going to happen to you. And that type of fear is, I don't know if it was fear, but I believe that the director of this movie made that as a reflection of what he saw society at the time. So that's why I find this film so significant, because it just reminds me of how impactful something like The Day the Earth Stood Still, at least was for me. So
I agree. I think that's what's gonna make this Joker film so iconic and remembered, as not just the fact that it's a comic book film, but as a piece of art and literature and storytelling because of what it was able to encompass and entail as a film with a lot of social commentary on our climate nowadays, right? I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, on to our last topic. This one's actually gonna jump over from the DC side of comics to Marvel side of comics, right? And this is gonna be a quick double hit on it. But the first thing is that earlier this week, it was confirmed that 5 dates that were originally scheduled for other Disney films were actually being readjusted to make do and to accommodate for new time frames for Marvel films. And those 5 dates are within 2023. And those dates are February 18th, May 6th, July 29th, and now it's also October 7th. And then, October 7th of 2022 is now being confirmed for a Marvel film. February 17th in 2023, May 5th in 2023, July 28th, and November 3rd. So those last 5 dates were new additions to the upcoming Marvel films and movies that are going to be worked on. And I think that's cool that all the other dates are tied to films that we already know that are gonna be coming out. You know, first one we got May 1st of next year, Black Widow. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier in fall on Disney Plus. We got The Eternals on November 6th. We got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in February 12th of 2021. WandaVision in spring of 2021 on Disney Plus. We got Loki in spring of 2021. We got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in May 7 in 2021. Spider-Man 3 on July 16th. What If the series on Disney Plus is going to be in summer of 2021. Hawkeye in 2021 in fall, and then Thor: Love and Thunder is November 5th of 2021, and Black Panther 2 on May 6th of 2022. So now them adding those new series or those new film dates, it's going to be interesting on what they're going to what movies are going to be filling out those roles, especially on the fact of that we also know that there's 3 other new series coming out as well, because you have Ant-Man 3 and then Blade that are going to be coming out in theaters, as well as 3 other shows that are going to be on Disney Plus, which is Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk. So I think them adding and confirming these extra dates for new films is a good idea to know what to expect for the next couple years. I know they're going to show off more stuff of those projects the closer we get, but to kind of know out that slate is always a good thing, right? It's always an interesting thing. But the one that has me the most interested, right, is the People for Today Hate Everything. You're not wrong about that. Their existed celery. The people really do. But I'll say this: the one project from the new Marvel Studios, from the TV shows especially, that has me the most interested is the What If storyline. Because if you've never read the What If comics, they're a spin on stories that we know about what if one change happened to the timeline and how that would affect the entire story that we know, right? And we've been getting a lot of teases of some of those short stories or episodes that are going to be coming from What If. What happened if Cap got a hold of the Tesseract before Red Skull and became a zombie, right? What if Peggy Carter was given the shield and asked to take the super soldier serum and became what they were saying, Captain Carter? What happened if instead of who is it? Why can't I think of Star-Lord? I was like, if Peter Quill wasn't picked up and taken into space and became Star-Lord, what if it was Black Panther? Because apparently most people don't know, Chadwick Boseman originally auditioned as the role of Star-Lord before auditioning for Black Panther. So they're kind of taking that and spinning that story on set. I think what these comics are, or what this is doing, it's going to give an interesting aspect of things, right? I think it's going to give a much different uniqueness that we have been seeing. It's just like, because everyone always has those issues of like, well, what if this villain won? Or what if this happened? What if that happened, right? And this is an actual way of telling some of those what if stories. I think that's kind of what created the series idea when they started making those comics of what if. So, seeing some of the pictures in the early stuff coming out about Marvel's What If, what are your thoughts on what they're doing with that series?
Not sure. For me, everything's kind of a little up in the air. Because for the What If series, then there's Blade, Moon Knight, and oh no, I can't remember. For those series, like me personally, if they're not rated R, it's gonna be a hard sell on me. Because what if they're doing the zombie Captain America one in zombies? That's mature content right there. I don't actually see how you can have that.
Unless remember, I believe some of them is going to be like 3D animated. So I think that's how they're going to be able to do that. Because you can do like zombies in like 3D animation and be like PG-13, not like full-on rotten flesh falling off, like Walking Dead.
You definitely do that. But like, from reading the What If and Marvel Zombies, from actually reading that and like seeing them go do a show about that, I know I shouldn't have this, because I should have the expectation, because like for past 10 years they don't go what the comics have done. They take bits and pieces from it. But like, see, I need some grit from them. Like I really do. And I'm hoping they do it from these series, but I know they're not going to do it. But I'm just, I don't know. I have to wait and see what's going to happen. Because for Blade, I'm sorry.
Blade and Moon Knight, I agree. I was like, those ones you can't do. Yeah. I was like, and I believe that with Mushara Ali, like, I believe Mushara is gonna absolutely cap for it to be a mature series, you know, because it needs to be. I agree with that. But I want to focus.
I think he's gonna kill it, bro. But like, it really comes down to Disney how much they're gonna
do with it. Yeah.
but I guess how much they're gonna hold back from it.
Yeah. But that's why I wanted to focus on what if, because there's so much more that we know about what if now, with a lot of those, like Black Panther being Star-Lord instead of with T'Challa instead of Peter Quill, and Captain or Peggy Carter. What happened if she was given the Super Soldier Serum and got the vibranium shield, being Captain Carter? A lot of those I'm just like, oh, that's actually something. I was like, what if that happened? Like, how would that work?
Those sound really interesting. I'm actually interested to see how to actually roll with those as well. But yeah, it's gonna be a wait and see game. See how they're gonna execute them as well.
Definitely.
See if they actually live up to the hype they're getting right now. But it's definitely interesting. I'm mildly excited to see what they do with them. But like, I want to see more from it.
I definitely say that it has people, at least their interest peaked on it, right? Like, that's the big thing, is it has that peak interest. Now, what about you, Kofi? What are your thoughts on it, my man?
I think it actually looks really cool. I'll be honest. I just want to see if, like, this is something that they've lined up, but I just want to see if they have some sort of Ronin storyline, and I lay it out somewhere where he has to go kill a bunch of people. I'm watching it. That's just something I was always very excited about.
Well, that's
what Hawkeye, right?
Yeah, well, the Hawkeye series is actually going to follow Ronin training his daughter to take over the role. So it's going to be showing him training her to be the next Hawkeye. That's kind of what they showed off a little bit in Endgame. When he's practicing archery with her, and she's as good of a shot as him, and he's just like, you're gonna try and come for my job, aren't you? And she started laughing, and then everything, because that's what broke him and made him go Ronin. But that the Hawkeye series is going to be him training her to take up the mantle of Hawkeye.
I see. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here, even beyond whatever they have planned for the first season. Seeing matchups that we've always wanted to see, like fights between two strong characters, possibly with the way Disney has extension now into, the Fox rights of the X-Men. Can we see something like Hulk fight against Wolverine?
That's the one film I want more than anything. Give me Hulk versus Wolverine. Give me Thor versus Wolverine. Hell, give me Hulk and Wolverine versus Hulk or Thor. I was like, give him. I was like, that's the two double features of Hulk versus films that I like the most, right? I was like, give me that and go to town. I was like, shit. If you're gonna get rid of old Chris and get rid of Fat Thor, right? Then let me either see Lady Thor or let me see Valkyrie go up against Hulk. Well, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's another good matchup. Yeah, maybe seeing characters that we don't ever see in action, like Valkyrie.
Well, I don't think Hulk would fight Valkyrie because.
Oh yeah,
Hulk like Valkyrie.
That's not a good idea at all. But I'm saying like.
Let Lady Thor get that ass whooping by Hulk, right? let her take it.
What is the name of Thor's quote unquote dead sister?
Hela.
Huh? Yeah, getting Hela to fight somebody. See, now that's a fair fight against some of the more powerful enemies. I think.
She dead because Ragnarok.
Right. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot of things I would want to see. I gotta look at the whole list of what's already planned for season 1, but.
All I know is that What If is going to be a very interesting, probably one of the more interesting series that they're going to put out on Disney Plus, especially tied all into the next phase 4 of Marvel series. Like, because this is going to tie in. I was like, this one's going to be kind of tie into all their stuff, right? But the What If, I think, is the most interesting series that they're working on. Because don't get me wrong, I like WandaVision because I want to see more. I want them to really explore the relationship between Wanda and Vision, because the fact that has been the most accurate relationship in the MCU to the comics. Because Wanda does fall in love with Vision so much that they get married, and she actually creates kids out of existence from due to her love of Vision, because they can't have actual kids. Like, she creates legitimate kids because of her powers. Like, she's that powerful that they're able to do that. I was like, the Winter Soldier and the Falcon, I think, is going to be interesting, because we're going to see the growth of that with now Falcon taking over as the role of the new Captain America. I was like, I'm all okay with that. Like, I wanted Bucky to have the mantle first before Falcon, but I think they were kind of grooming Falcon to be the next Captain America well before, which isn't a bad thing, because Falcon does become Captain America in the comics. You know, he's the third mantle bearer of the Captain America title, you know, but he comes after Bucky does. After Bucky, you know, was able to recover from everything that happened as his time as the Winter Soldier due to his mind control from Hydra. But I was like, still, that's an interesting storyline, right? And now the fact that they confirmed that they're doing a Miss Marvel series, right? And it's going to follow Kamala Khan, you know, the current Miss Marvel, which is a Muslim American superhero. So Kamala Khan is the new Miss Marvel after the last one, which was, of course, Carol Danvers. The fact that they're doing a She-Hulk film or TV series, which I'm all for, because She-Hulk, she's a badass, right? Killer lawyer, femme fatale, like sexy woman, but strong as the Hulk himself, but will destroy any male and has destroyed every male in the Marvel universe in more than way than one, if you know what I'm saying. Yes, she has. That's right. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I was like, and then the fact that Blade is coming out, like, there's so much coming. But I think What If was probably the very unique story of what's coming out. I think that's probably been the biggest test of what unique projects that they have in the works from
So what's your
Marvel.
most right now?
Right now, if I had to say out of the films, either Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings or Doctor Strange 2 in the Marvel or the Madness of the Universe.
Same.
Multiverse
Exactly.
of Madness.
Both
I was like,
of those.
because of the fact that one, Shang-Chi is probably one of my favorite underrated, like, B or really C tier superheroes, because of the fact that he is the most skilled martial artist in the universe besides the Karate Kid himself. I was like, the Karate Kid is the only other one who's more skilled than Shang-Chi. And Shang-Chi's gotten better throughout the comic series. And then, of course, you know, Doctor Strange was probably one of the most visually appealing films of all time from the MCU. Like, those visual effects, dude. Like, I don't even need to say anything. Just those visual effects. I was like...
Scarlet Witch is in the film. Like, it's going to be...
And the fact that we're getting to see the first encompasses of the multiverse. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to see a bit of it when we saw Dormammu in the Dark Universe, but to say now that we get to see more, yes, please. But like I said, I think What If is going to be a very unique story, and it's going to be very interesting on how it all comes together. Now, with that being said, guys, we are coming up on the end of the show. It looks like the lawyer himself already had to dip out and go take care of some paperwork that he's got to file. So he will give his outro for him. You can catch him and all his Thomas J. Fuckery on Twitter at Operation_OPO, and make sure you keep up with him and all the shenanigans that he'd be doing over there. Other than that, he be frauding and not doing anything. He's not even on his Xbox or anything anymore because he's been trying to keep up on that manga. But before we get out of here, I want to let Kofi sign out. Where can they find you at, my guy?
Guys, you can find me at creative_Kofi on Twitter. I typically tweet about Japanese games, but I love all types of games. I do translations for Famitsu and Dengeki PlayStation 4 times a month. I'll post summaries live in the timeline. Hit me up if you want to find fun ways to continue to study Japanese. If anybody's interested in studying Japanese, there's tons of free tools. How to use them is why you want to consult me. And I don't charge, of course. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, and speaking of Japanese content, right? I want to touch on something real quick with you, uh, Kofi, because for those who don't listen, who've been following me on here, everyone knows that I'm a big Japanese enthusiast, especially for gaming. When we do occasionally talk about Japanese games on Xbox and stuff like that, and of course PlayStation. For those who weren't following me from my days or my time over on GRG, where I first started out with all this, I've been saying for quite some time that the Japanese movement is coming for my Xbox brethren, right? And Thursday, Kofi, something I've been saying for almost a year, that people didn't believe me, came true. I was the prophet speaking from the mountains on high on this, and no one wanted to believe me. To all my Xbox and Japanese enthusiasts, the Yakuza series is finally making its debut on the Xbox console with the release of Yakuza 0, the KyoAni 1 remake, and the KyoAni 2 remake coming in Game Pass starting in January. Along with that is the classics that that were the foundation of Japanese RPGs, turn-based RPGs for everyone on that platform, right? With Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, 10-2, 12, 13, 13-2, Lightning Returns, and Final Fantasy 15 all making their come up on the Xbox through Game Pass. Those games are available for you to purchase right now, but if you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you'll be able to play those games when they drop in Game Pass. On top of that, for all my Disney fans out there and my Square Enix and JRPG fans, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 Final Mix and the 2.8 Final Prologue are also gonna be in Game Pass. Something I have been saying that they needed to put in a lot sooner. So I'll cut them a little bit slack, because I said they should have been out there before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out earlier this year. But it's coming. Stuff that I've been saying that people didn't believe me was coming. Kofi, as soon as you saw that announcement, I saw you tweet at me so fast it wasn't even funny.
Yeah, man. This is very interesting to me. I have to pull out a bit of a history book. Xbox's relationship with Sega was something very special, especially in their first generation, but yeah, also in the Xbox 360 era. So when I say it was special, a lot of the IPs that were born on the Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast kind of died early, lived on because of Xbox. So that relationship was very special for me as a gamer, because I was a huge fan of a game called Phantasy Star Online, and I'm sure that's another topic that we're going to be bringing up, but Phantasy Star Online, to me, was really just as synonymous with Xbox as it was a Dreamcast. I spent probably more hours on the Xbox version because I love the Dreamcast version so much. So to see that relationship come to fruition, and them working with the Sega publisher to bring those Yakuza games to worldwide for all Xbox gamers, that is a wonderful step in the right direction. I do have a soapbox about Xbox's relationship with Japanese developers, but that's not the time for this right now. You got to celebrate progress. So I'm very happy.
Oh, we'll say this, that and I'll agree with you. I was like, their relationship with the Japanese was very, very tarnished after the last head of Xbox with Don Matrick during his era, during the 360 days going into now, right? Right before the start of the current generation. I was like, but Phil Spencer has been doing wonders with rebuilding that relationship. I was like, it's taken a lot of years. It's taken time. But we're seeing that change, and a lot of the extent of those relationships being rebuilt. And this was probably the biggest one that I was absolutely a win for. I was like, so after they finish the 3, 4, 5 remaster collection on PlayStation 4, I hope to see those come out as well. Not immediately, but probably within the few months afterwards. Because it finishes launching in February, so I think we'd see the earliest of the mentions of them porting it probably around April to May, I would hope. If not, at least around the announcement of at E3 time, right? But there's been a massive change in the Japanese direction, especially with the announcement that they said for xCloud. For those who don't know what xCloud is, it's Xbox's streaming service to be able to play on all mobile devices, right? To be able to play your Xbox games anywhere on those devices. And the fact is, they recently built new data centers in other countries, such as Japan, India, South Africa, Brazil, and then in Europe. And the first countries that they announced that they were adding outside of the US and Canada was Brazil, Europe, specifically the UK, South Africa, India, and Japan. Which is the smartest move they could have made, because we all know that console gaming isn't as prevalent in Japan anymore. They're very big PC people or mobile gaming people. So, having some of the highest hardware phones around and having that high mobile market with a service that allows them to play console level games streamed directly to their mobile devices, all you need is a Bluetooth controller. I think this was planned. I'm just saying. Wouldn't you say, Kofi?
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting seeing going into the space where you can stream to your phone and what competitors are trying to do against Xbox or as a competitor to Xbox is very interesting. I think this is something, like you said, I think this is something Xbox is planning long term. And I don't see any newcomers doing well in this space, because there are, even though we always talk about the essentials of being a good gaming platform, really there's a lot of things that need to go into consideration, right? Supporting legacy players, having good PR, making sure that you handle studios well, making sure that security and communications are maintained. There's just a lot of things that we don't
to sum it up really quickly, it's you need.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to sum it up quickly. You need infrastructure, messaging, content, and then you need support. Those 4 key pillars is what you need. And yes, to what Jay Slater mentioned also, I didn't mention that. Final Fantasy 14, the big MMO on PC and PS4 also got confirmed for coming to Xbox as well. So I was like, it's a great time for all my Japanese enthusiasts on the Xbox platform. I'm just saying. I was like, I have my PlayStation console. I was like, if you don't believe me, I was like, I have my copy of Yakuza right here with me, right? I was like, I got that right there for all those. And I was like, and of course, I got that steelbook case of KyoAni 2, and I still got my original PS2 versions, and I got the disc still. I was like, because of the fact that I game, right? I'm about gaming. So I'm just glad that it's on my platform of choice. I supported it because, one, I support Like a Dragon Studios, or if you want to pronounce it correctly in their native tongue, Ryuga Gotoku. Yeah. I was about to say. So, this was an amazing announcement, and just to give you a heads up, Kofi, right? For those who don't know, I went to E3 this year. I talked with one of the head lead developers on Project xCloud, and what they've been working on with that, with what they were actually, because this actually started during the Donnie D era, and that Phil kind of helped change the direction and help push it. But basically, the foundations for xCloud has been going on for almost 10 years. That's why at the end of the 360 era, you saw them introduce the cloud saves and stuff like that as a way to store your saves in their cloud, because back then it was only like a gig. But you're talking about save data that was only like a megabyte, like a couple megabytes, and you can even store your profile in the cloud, and then just log into it anywhere and be able to instantly pull up all your stuff, right? I was like, that's something they've had in the works for almost a decade. So now you're starting to see that come up, and that's why no one can compare with their foresight, right? The one thing that you can give Microsoft is they have foresight. And this is definitely one of those things. But that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. But I had to say to all my Japanese enthusiasts, since he mentioned Japanese content, I was like, oh yeah, we got to talk about this. I got to mention it real quick. But yeah, something crazy, my man. But make sure y'all go follow him on Twitter, creative_Kofi, KOFI. And make sure you also go check out the website he recommended if you want to learn how to speak Japanese by learning the kanji, romanji, or any other sorts. So that way you could start learning more about the Japanese subculture, which is daiweeb.com. I was like, and of course, guys, if y'all don't know who I am, I was like, I'm Bloody Nuts, aka the Goth Gamer, your resident anime king. You can find me on all my social media down here below that you can find posted. I was like, so I am everywhere on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and of course where I stream here on YouTube with the weekly podcast every week, as well as for those over here on Mixer. You already know where I'm at. If y'all aren't, make sure y'all go follow me on the other platforms. Subscribe to me on YouTube where you find all of our old podcast episodes, where you can find them all, as well as we also post them up on Anchor.fm, or you can also find them on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, or on Spotify, all at Smash Podcast. If you search them up, you'll be able to find them. Of course, if y'all aren't following me on Mixer, make sure you do go follow us over here, because this is where I make my home, because not only do I stream the podcast here, I also stream games 5 times a week. I was like, so I got a little content and a variety of stuff for all you guys, so that way, whether we're playing Japanese content or anything else, we'll make sure that you guys are entertained and listen to what we kind of talk about throughout the week, whether it's thoughts on new news or just having fun, having a couple drinks, and having wild stuff happen with us, guys. And plus, trust, we got some things in the works that y'all definitely want to be a part of and check out and hear about soon. But guys, until next time, we will see y'all. We will have an announcement about some changes coming up here soon. So make sure you follow us on all our social media so that way y'all can be updated on all that information. But until next time, guys, we hope y'all have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week. But until next time, peace out. And check you later, Minasan. Sayonara.